morning, everyone. Welcome to Hawkridge Systems Design to Manufacturing Conference for 2025, D2M Accelerate. We're fired up and ready to spend the day with you exploring the latest in design, engineering, and manufacturing technologies. I'm Damon Tordini. I'll be your host for this morning's general session, and we've got an amazing lineup today of product experts and industry leaders ready to share what they've been working on. We'll be taking a look at the latest tech, answering your questions, and raffling off some great prizes, including our grand prize, a trip to 3D Experience World in Houston, Texas. Today we'll be running more than a dozen breakout sessions diving into what's new with all your favorite engineering tools, including SolidWorks, PDM, simulation, 3D printing, and a whole lot more. We'll be looking at how your favorite products are being enhanced with cloud-based technology like AI and machine learning, or being retooled to support advanced materials like medical-grade plastics or carbon fiber. We'll be digging into performance improvements and UI updates, and we'll be giving you an exclusive look at projects where Hawkridge Systems has used these tools in concert to solve some of the latest engineering challenges. We're grateful to have you joining us here in our Zoom events platform. And so just a quick check here at the bottom of your screen, you'll find some buttons for the chat and the Q&A. We'd like you to use the chat to connect with other attendees at the conference and the Q&A for your questions. Our panelists will be keeping an eye on those throughout the day and staying engaged. So whether you're spending the day in our lobby or those breakout sessions, we hope you'll stay active, challenge us, make sure we're all getting the most out of our time together. In fact, it looks like some of you folks are starting us up here with a shout out to your hometown and the number of D2M events that you've attended. I'm happy to say this is number 6 for me. Now here at Hawkridge Systems, we're all about moving fast, and many of us also happen to have a bit of an obsession with cars. You might have seen some of the projects that we worked on via the Hawkridge Systems blog or YouTube channel, everything from off-road light bars to truck accessories to custom intakes. Our focus has always been about getting where we want to go faster and better without any distractions. And for this year's D2M, we're kicking things into high gear. We're going to talk about using AI assistance to whip up designs with less formal training, faster assembly modeling, optimizing structures with cloud computing, even fabricating complex parts by combining CNC machining and additive manufacturing. We've got tons of great information to share, and of course, having so many of you connected in one place makes it a real pleasure. So to help us kick things off, I'd like to take a moment here and introduce Hawkridge Systems Chairman and CEO, Dale Ford. Hi, Dale. Thanks for taking some time this morning. It's great to have you back.
Hey, Damon. It's always a pleasure, and it's great to be here for another D2M event, for sure.
So those of us who've been around here for a while know that hitting the road is one of your favorite hobbies. And this year's theme is Accelerate. So I got to ask, what's something in your life that could use a little more speed?
Okay, well, maybe my golf swing, right? but I'll admit it, I've got a bit of a gearhead streak as well. I love cars. And the Accelerate theme really connects with that side of the Hawkridge culture. You know, we're engineers at heart, right? And we love tinkering, we love optimizing, we like pushing for performance. And that's exactly what this event is all about.
For sure. I mean, this year's event is packed with sessions on what's new in SolidWorks and 3D Experience, PDM, simulation, additive manufacturing. So I got to ask, which updates are you personally most excited about?
Well, you talked about a bunch there already, right? But I think there's a lot to be excited about. I think that's the exciting part. Auto-generate drawings is going to save designers hours for sure. Aura AI brings a real intelligence into the design process, of course. And that new large assembly performance improvements, skipping rebuilds entirely, will keep people more focused in their creative flow. But I think it's, in the end, it's that blend of simplicity and power that has always kept SolidWorks, ahead of the curve, and it's always made it so great.
That's true. We've seen a lot of change over the years, but it is still shocking to me that we're coming up on an important milestone here, 30 years of SolidWorks. A lot of folks out there have been, sharing stories about the first thing they ever designed in SolidWorks. Do you remember what yours was?
That's right. 3 decades of helping people design better, faster, and smarter. We've actually been running a 30th year anniversary contest for Hawkridge customers who are willing to share those stories. But I guess if I go backwards, and for me, I would say I have to go back to 1998, which is a very long time ago. Absolutely. I had been running Pro Engineer, Creo today, obviously, as a tool for a while, and we had the opportunity to look at SolidWorks. And I basically redesigned, if you will, a dental sterilizer that I had designed in Pro Engineer to see what SolidWorks could do. And I honestly, I couldn't believe the ease and simplicity that SolidWorks provided. It was just an amazing leap forward, especially at the time. And it's how we ended up being a SolidWorks partner in the end. I just love seeing the creativity from this community and the nostalgia that comes with it. And it's a really big reminder that this software has shaped so many careers and ideas over the years. It's just amazing.
Yeah, I mean, Hawkridge has grown a lot since those early days. It's true. But you've kept that people-centric culture at the core. How do you think we maintain that while continuing to accelerate as a company?
Well, I think it's something that's just part of us, and it's something that we take great pride in, right? We're more than 400 people strong now across the U.S. and Canada, and we continue to invest heavily in our people because that's what we bring to the customer base. It's what our people know. When customers, work with Hawkridge, they're talking to experts who know the tools that we represent inside and out. But I think more importantly, they're talking to people who generally care about their success. And I think that is what we brought to the market, and that's what we continue to bring to the market. And I think that's what's made us successful. We leverage a pretty big partner network to help bring that success to our customers. And this event is always about highlighting them, from Markforged and HP to Solid Professor, A3D. What's new on that front this year? Well, I guess I would say those relationships are stronger than ever, Damon. With Markforged, we're pushing into the hybrid additive workflows that combine composites and metals. With HP, they continue to drive incredible speed and surface quality in additive manufacturing. And our A3D Center of Excellence in Phoenix is helping customers bring production back on shore with leaner manufacturing workflows. And then when we wrap it and combine that with what Solid Professor's commitment to continuous learning, and I think we've got an ecosystem that's really helped to help customers accelerate really from idea to impact, for sure. AI, as you mentioned, and digital transformation, if you will, those are big topics this year. How do you see Hawkridge helping customers focus on what really works? Yeah, AI definitely is everywhere, right? As we all know. But for us, it's all about practical outcomes. What can we do today? What's it doing today? And our AI, I think, is a great example. It's not about replacing designers. It's about empowering them to work faster and smarter and more creatively. Our engineers take, I would say, the latest technology and translate that into real world productivity. And that's how we help customers make the complex simple. And that's really how you accelerate progress. And so, Damon, if I can, I'm going to take a moment to thank our entire Hawkridge team for everything that they've done to make this event possible. There's so much work goes into this. The hours of planning and recording and testing all pay off, though, when we see our customers learning and connecting. And I also wanted to say a huge shout out, a huge thank you to our platinum partners. Clearly, Dassault Systems SolidWorks, HP, Markforged, Formlabs, and Artec, and DriveWorks, and CamWorks. And of course, we can't forget Solid Professor and A3D. Their innovation and collaboration make everything we do possible, for sure. And I guess maybe finally, to our customers, thank you for joining us today and trusting us to be part of your journey. We know your time is valuable, and our goal today is to give you something that can apply immediately, something that helps you design faster, manufacture smarter, and move your ideas forward. And we're not in this for one project or one purchase. We're in this for the lifetime of our relationship. And together, we're building the future, one design, one idea, one acceleration, if you will, at a time. Beautifully said, Dale. Thanks for your time and your leadership. Let's keep the momentum going. Let's have an amazing D2M Accelerate. Absolutely, Damon. Thanks for having me. Well, I've got to agree with Dale that we do have a unique spot in the engineering world. We get to see such a wide range of companies working on amazing things in almost every industry you can imagine. A lot of us in this field have had our own unique journeys. We've been designers, manufacturers, educators, even entertainers.
Hawkridge Systems is all about sharing that experience with our customers to help make engineering the way it should be. And we're not the only ones. Our first guest this morning is perhaps the most high-profile SolidWorks designer in the country. You might have seen him cranking out bikes on the Discovery Channel show American Chopper, or working on trophies for your favorite sports league. Whatever the job, industrial designer Jason Poole has a track record of bringing energy and creativity to the situation and sharing it with others. I recently caught up with Jason to talk about why he loves industrial design and how the latest tools are moving him forward. Hey, good morning, Jason. Thanks for taking some time out of your day to chat with us.
Yeah, it's awesome to be here, Damon. Thanks for having me.
I think a lot of folks out in the Hawkridge audience today might be familiar with your work. They might have seen one of the bikes that you've designed, maybe seen you get into a spirited debate about one of them. I want to go back before all of that and find out, like, what is your background? How did you get into industrial design in the first place? What was your career path?
Sure. Well, you know what? In my life, passion drives everything, and I guess when things started out, I was always about like drawing and designing and building things. And I did it not just for me, but for people around me. Because when I would show off a new painting or a new sculpture or a project, it would make people, it would bring joy to people. And that's what it was about for me, is like getting that, like, hey, check out what I made. And you see that, what? So for me, it was all about getting joy and capturing fun. And I feel like all designs, no matter what you work on, should provoke emotion, should stir emotion and get people excited. So at a very young age, I remember doing that with like, finger paints and, Play-Doh and stuff,
Likewise, creativity is where it starts, right? I think we're coming up here in a few days on the official 30th anniversary of the first release of SolidWorks. A lot of people have been sharing what the first model they ever made in SolidWorks was. Do you remember yours?
I do. For me, SolidWorks gave me power, at my old job at Orange County Choppers. It allowed me to make things in real life. Okay. So I was making these parts and going right to the water jet and blasting them and hanging it on the bikes. And it just gave me power. So I do remember my very first thing was, it was a wheel. Okay. It was just a very basic wheel. I had 0.75 inches, is all I had to work with. So I had to divide that by 2 for one side and then mirror it over. And it was just a 3-spoke design, very simple. And I look back at it now, I get the giggles, but it allowed me to, make my dreams possible,
The first time you open a program like that and you realize you could make almost anything, it was almost like overwhelming. That's how I felt. So before you started designing, it can be, right? And
yeah.
But now that we're like in that mode, when you get into a new tool, there's a fair amount of excitement that comes with it too, right? I think we can handle it now.
You got to overcome that little bit of fear of something new and unknown. And we all had that first time we were opening up SolidWorks and using it, and it hits you, it's like, but it's how you look at it. I looked at it as, oh, look at all these opportunities. I'm going to be able to take files right from here, right to the CNC machine, right to the water jet machine. So I looked at it in a different light, and really just, tackled literally one sketch at a time,
Tell us about like your design methodology. You've done many projects in your career. Where do you like to get started? Is it with that sketch? Is it with a pen and paper?
Yeah, a lot of times I'll start with a pencil sketch and just, sketch down a bunch of concepts. And then I build what's called an artboard, where I take different shapes and colors. It could be cars, it could be other things that inspire me. And I build an artboard. And I've been doing that lately with the 3D Lean tool. And it's great. I can just copy and paste pictures and add notes to it. But that way I have that one resource that I can go back to and constantly draw inspiration. So I put all my sketches from my sketchbook into the Lean board, all the pictures that inspire me, and even like useful like links for future ordering of materials that I'm going to need. It's just super helpful. So that's kind of like how I got that started.
Yeah, that beam board is one of those things that, everybody with a license of SolidWorks gets now. It's not well known yet. I started using it for just, like project planning earlier this year, or even just reminders. And it's funny, right? You never think of SolidWorks as having that kind of stuff. It's a mechanical design tool, but it can do a lot.
Yeah. And another thing, like getting started in projects, I used to have to flush out the design ahead of time with sketch, with markers and pencil and paper, and then go into the software and really, sit down and focus. But a lot of times I find myself, opening up X-Shape and just doing really quick concept models, because in the sub-Ds I'm able to model so fast that sometimes that's better because I see different shapes and contours in the 3D model that I can't really express with just a pencil and a piece of paper. So I've often find myself, jumping into X-Design, X-Shape, and just knocking out a quick concept in 3D space now,
Yeah, I remember, struggling with how to do that in SolidWorks back in the day when we didn't have, those sub-D modeling tools. I think my friend wanted me to design like a ship-based spaceship for a video game for him or something like that. I'm like, I don't think I can. Not the right way.
Right.
It's all about the tools you have in your toolkit, right?
For sure.
So take me back when you were just getting started. What were some of those early jobs like where you used SolidWorks to create some of this stuff?
Oh, so yeah, I guess the first time I used SolidWorks because I came from the video game industry, so it was all polygonal based. It was all polygons, and I did some surface modeling too with splines. And when I was introduced to SolidWorks, it was I was introduced to the right way of doing things. I had an XYZ to work from, and I had real numbers, so I could draw a perfect circle, and I knew that was going to fit, be able to bolt onto the bike directly because I knew it was going to be accurate. So some of the first ones, we built a bike for Will Smith. It was called the iRobot. And that was the very first bike that I was able to sketch and work on and design. And I remember making a shift linkage for it, and then I did what was called a suicide shifter. So instead of using the actual foot, you could just grab this handle that came across the gas tank and shift gears with it. And then, I got into doing mirrors and wheels and, air cleaner covers and primary covers and, from frame design. I even, at one point in my career there, I had a frame builder that I could punch in numbers and actually generate a frame that we'd then send to our fabricator to build. So the best thing about SolidWorks was I could always learn more. There was always more to know about it. And, I just used a fraction of its power, and I love to learn. So I'm still to this day learning new steps and new procedures and new ways of doing things inside SolidWorks. That's pretty cool.
The learning never stops, does it? Yeah. And You got to stay fresh with it. And, you'll learn a new way to make something that looks cool, but has real numbers behind it, just like you said. What are some of the other clients you worked with in your career? What are some of your favorites?
Oh man, there was so many. Muhammad Ali was great, to work with. Bill Murray. It turns out he was a mailman in Illinois, and so was I for one summer. So we hit it off. He was great. We did the Caddyshack bike for him. Billy Joel made fun of my haircut, which was funny because he didn't have hair. But Tony Stewart. It goes on and on. We did a bike for Shaq. That was really cool because he's just a huge person. So no one in the shop could actually ride the bike that we made. So my buddy Christian, he was our lead mechanic. We made him stilts so he could shift gears, and he sat on top of the gas tank. It was huge. The bike was huge. But you know what? I got to work with all sorts of Fortune 500 companies, and I got to work with them, got to work with their ad agency, and it really put me in a fortunate position. I got to travel the entire world And I really cherish, those moments that I was able to learn from the insanely talented team I got to work alongside of, and, other people that really contributed to, my role and success there, which was awesome.
You got to take a lot of these folks through like the full engineering process, show them what it looks like to design something and prototype it and test it. And that's a unique opportunity.
Yeah, that's what I do. And, someone asked me recently, like, what's my workflow like? And I created a 4-part creative design process. So it's real simple. Like, the first part is understanding what exactly you're trying to do. Is this a personal project for you to make you happy, bring you joy? Is it what the client needs? What's the competition look like? And so once that's like the first phase is know what the heck you're doing and what you need to do. And then the second phase, before I even enter the second phase, that's conceptualize. Okay. And that's doing the artboard. That's doing the quick concept sketches, maybe adding a splash of color, maybe knocking in a quick model. And then design is where the third phase, design, is where I really like sit back and like try to work in the details in 3D space, generate an amazing SolidWorks file, something that's manufacturable. And then the final phase is the creation phase or the make phase. That's where I do the 3D printing or the CNC milling or welding. It's endless. How you can make things these days is really tremendous. And that's what I love. I love the whole maker movement, how you can access equipment at different fab labs, how you can get lower cost equipment like that you could never do before. And it's really brought the power of design and manufacturing to the maker, someone that just wants to create and build. And that's what I'm here for. I'm here to have fun and just keep on building and keep on designing.
It's pretty exciting, right? There's millions of budding designers all over the world, really, that have this opportunity now that they didn't really have in the past. You've obviously got a passion for not only being creative, designing new things, but sharing that, philosophy with others. Is that why you decided to go work for SolidWorks?
Yeah, that's exactly why. When I was traveling a lot back in the day, I'd go to airports and I'd have a college kid run up to me. Oh, hey, Jason Poole. I'd be like, yo, what's up? And they'd be like, I went to engineering school because of you. I'm a mechanical designer because of you. I saw you drawing bikes on that glass tablet, and I saw you creating 3D. It opened my eyes up to product design. And I had an art teacher back in high school that opened my eyes up to, the whole world is designed. You can design it how you want. You could be the creator of all these different things. And that inspired me. And I feel like a huge desire to help influence and design and inspire the next level of industrial designers. And what better place to do it and have the power to still be super creative, use state-of-the-art tools, get to test drive them first, and make sure they're ready. And Damon, it never hurts to surround yourself with really smart people. And SolidWorks has done it right for so many years that I just feel honored to be part of the team. I really do.
Where else have you been sort of testing your skills lately? I'm hearing that you've been doing some stuff for the sporting world.
Yeah, Damon, I definitely have a passion for sports. There's no doubt about that. And recently I just finished a fan Zamboni for the New Jersey Devils, which they use it to give fans rides in between the periods of hockey. So that's really cool. And I also make all the WWE championship belts. I've worked with them since I think 2006. And yeah, I machine those right here on the CNC mill behind me.
So Jason, now that you're at SolidWorks, you're an industrial design champion. Tell us more about what that means. What do you do at SolidWorks?
You know what, Damon? I show that the dream is possible. Growing up, I had a lot of clients and client visits and bike unveils, so I traveled a lot. And people would always approach me and say that I inspired them and motivated them to be a designer or an engineer. And it was awesome, and I guess like that stuck with me. I wanted to be able to help people and influence people to make cool choices and build fun things and just have fun with life, because that's what it's about. So I design and make products that, I capture my entire process and I show off my workflow, and then I post them on the Made in 3D community on the 3D Experience Swim platform.
The SolidWorks forums have always been a big part of that, and they're part of the 3D Experience platform now. And
right.
They're getting some momentum lately, and that's always good to see.
Yeah, I love the Swim platform because it's a great resource to see what other makers are creating, designing, and building. And a lot of times I get inspired by others there for my projects. So it actually works out. But yeah, basically, I'm the industrial design champion on the mainstream innovation adoption team, which is led by Justin Burton.
You've been working with a lot of our favorite folks at SolidWorks. You've been doing so many cool projects as a test case to, just like you say, share what these tools can do. What's a recent one you've been working on that you're all proud of?
Well, you know what? The recent one that I've been working on, actually since probably the last 60 days, is a really special project for the SlugMe 10 team. I've been part of that with everyone at SlugMe, and I think this is my 5th year of doing SlugMe, and we have something really special, and it airs on YouTube November 6th. So I really think everyone should check that out. We picked a topic that was intimidating to me and others, and I really wanted to see if we could do it, and if the new tools were up to the ultimate test. And I was amazed. I was blown away, and I'm just so happy to be part of it. But yeah, we used XDesign, Xshape, and created and built an amazing sculpture. So it'll be on display November 6th on YouTube, and also everyone's going to get a chance to see it up close at 3D Experience World in Houston, Texas next year, 2026, Houston.
We are heading back to Houston next year. That's right, for 3D Experience World. Lots of cool stuff on the show floor always at 3D Experience World. We'll have to keep our eyes out for that one. And for those of you who aren't familiar, the SlugMe event, it's in the spirit of the SolidWorks user group community. A lot of folks out there, Jason, have been to SolidWorks user groups, more so this year than I think of the last few. We've been proud to participate in them at Hawk Ridge, and so we're excited to see that momentum.
Yeah, I'll also be speaking at a couple occasions there at 3D Experience World in Houston. I have a meetup session next to the sculpture, which will be really cool. And I'm also hosting my own session called Limitless Design using Xshape, which is basically an industrial design focus, and shows a little bit more about my workflow.
I don't want any spoilers, but can you give us a sneak peek? What are you going to cover in this session? What are your go-to Xshape master tips?
You know what? It's a whole bunch of things, and it's just my process, like how I use the software, my day-to-day use of it, even using Lean Board to be successful with my projects. And also, there is a guy that looks like me, a lot like me, that'll be a participant at the Model Mania Extreme event. Okay, so you definitely want to check that guy out. They tell me he's pretty good.
Okay, I took my hand at the SolidWorks 95 challenge last year, and I think I won a SolidWorks 95 CD case, so I must have done okay. But we'll have to find you a worthy competitor there.
That'd be great.
You clearly got the passion, you got the skill, you got the enthusiasm to share all of that with our community and the others out there, and we couldn't be more grateful. Thanks so much for taking some time out of your day to chat with us. We can't wait to see what else you got in store.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Damon, so much. Anytime I can work with Hawk Ridge, you know I'm going to do it. I appreciate you guys so much.
Thanks again. Amazing stuff. Thanks again to Jason Poole for taking us behind the scenes in his world. I can't wait for the SlugMe 10 event. That's happening November 6th. And of course, we'll definitely keep an eye out for that final version of the project at 3D Experience World next year. Well, I'm sure many of you tuning in today are veteran users of SolidWorks. You might be aware that SolidWorks recently began adding product enhancements year-round with each service pack. But all that being said, this time of the year is still the most exciting to me because it's when we get the latest major release of SolidWorks, which is packed with all the biggest stuff. So to help walk us through some of the highlights, please help me welcome Director of Technical Sales for Hawk Ridge Systems, Tim Newton. Welcome to the show, Tim.
Thank you, Damon, and great to be here celebrating the 30th anniversary of SolidWorks. You know, I got started with SolidWorks back in the year 2001, and it's been incredible to see how far we've taken the tool. Damon, when did you get started in SolidWorks?
About the same time, 01, 02 is when I picked it up in college. I moved into this field in around 2008.
Nice. Love to hear from the audience. Let me know in the chat when you got started with SolidWorks. You know, Damon, AI is an incredibly hot topic right now, so let's lead off with that. Dassault continues to infuse AI into the 3D Experience platform, and since the 2025 release, we've seen 3 major additions in this space. You know, back in February, as part of that new development strategy that you had mentioned, we got an exciting new tool that automatically generates drawings.
That was a big addition for sure. Got a lot of buzz. You know, being able to auto-generate a drawing without manually doing it is pretty big. And I've seen that they've already enhanced this feature for the 2026 release. It looks like it can do whole callouts now, section views.
That's right. Yep. Section views, whole callouts, even on imported models. You know, the best part, in my opinion, is the production or the result is a regular SolidWorks drawing. So you can continue to embellish it, add, remove, modify views, annotations, just like we've always done. But the best part is we're not starting from scratch anymore. You can even generate multiple drawings from the assembly in the background while you continue working.
It's pretty huge.
This is game changing. You know, I'm excited to also share that SolidWorks now automatically recognizes fasteners and can create SmartMates to speed up the placement. So this option that's now enabled by default lets you snap components right into place instantly. And no setup required. So you don't need to predefine any mate references to make this work. As you drag your fastener into the assembly, whether that's done through the Feature Manager tree, Windows Explorer, or any of the other insert methods, you'll see the cursor kind of sparkle, and that's your indication that it's recognized this. The AI sees this as a fastener, and as you get your cursor closer to the hole, it's going to snap right into place. Just drop it, and the mates are created automatically.
That one's very slick. One tip I saw is that it looks like the AI determines the whole geometry and other things in the model based off the mouse position. So if you're not getting a good result, you know, zoom in more, adjust the mouse, and maybe it'll scan, pick it up.
Yeah, that's right. The better you can see that, you know, where you're placing that fastener in the hole, the better it's going to snap into place.
I have to admit that the AI enhancement that I've been the most excited about, it's not necessarily a SolidWorks command. There was a lot of buzz earlier this year about a new AI companion for SolidWorks, which promises to help you work smarter by giving you context-sensitive guidance or automating tasks or offering suggestions in your design.
That's right, it's called Aura, and you can access it right now inside the 3D Swim app or directly from inside the SolidWorks task pane. You know, I've been using it when I need quick help. It pulls from the SolidWorks help files, installation guides, training manuals, the knowledge base, and even the user forum to give you answers you can be confident in, but saving you the time of searching.
Yeah, the fact that it's trained on those trusted sources, that's pretty big. I honestly think this is just the beginning. I mean, right now, Aura can recommend workflows and guide you through these different documentation pieces and all that. But there's a lot of promise in here, right? We've seen tech demos showing everything from having it automate features for you, or even driving SolidWorks completely, right? Creating a part from scratch after you feed it a sketch or feed it an image.
Yeah, those tech demos are so cool. I can't wait to see what the future holds for us. And if you want to see more about AI in action, you have to check out Scott Wood's session coming up in about an hour, What's New with AI in Design.
I also saw that there's a new enhancement this year for improving large assembly performance. Can you tell us about that one?
Absolutely. Happy to say we continue to make progress in this area. And today you can now control whether or not cosmetic-only edits, these are things like changes to appearance, decals, planes, reference sketches that don't directly affect the geometry. You can now control whether or not these set the rebuild flag. So you have 3 new options: never, the old way, prompt, always the old way, prompt, or never. In the case of never, it's not going to set those rebuild flags. So here in the demo, you can see we're adding a plane, putting in some a decal, but none of this would really impact the assembly. And with the new option, it no longer sets that rebuild flag. Now you'll know that changes have occurred because there's this bracketed asterisk in the title bar. But a great new enhancement to focus your energy where it counts, not rebuilding for cosmetic things when you may not need to.
That's pretty big. I mean, we've all seen some of the very large and complex assemblies that our customers create. So being able to put those, finishing touches on the design without slowing down, that's going to be a really nice experience.
I think the users will love that. Speaking of time savers, let's talk a little bit about configurations for a second. They've always been a great way to create simple designs, simple design variants really fast without creating piles and piles of files. But those design tables sometimes need to be represented as their own files, and historically this was a little bit challenging. Happy to say that now in 2026, you can split configurations into individual files, one or many at once. So here in the assembly, we've got this part file that contains a couple of configurations, and we'll go ahead and use the split configurations command right from the configuration tree. You can choose to split out one or all of them, and the best part is there's this update where used function, and SolidWorks is then going to remap referencing assemblies and drawings to the new part containing a single configuration. So we've got that done. Here we'll open up the part and you see a single configuration. No macros, no manual work. This is a great enhancement, Damon.
Yeah, I mean, I love those design tables. Being able to build out an entire part library from one Excel table, that sounds pretty amazing. Of course, we've seen that some of our customers also want to use design automation on very large and complex assemblies. They might need more advanced capability like rules-based automation or even a configure price quote solution so that you can select a custom version of a part. Normally in those cases, other tools like DriveWorks will be the best choice.
Design automation is the goal. You really should check out the DriveWorks. They're in the Virtual Experience Hub coming up in a couple of hours.
Beyond CAD, what else stands out this year?
Well, there's a pretty big one from HCL CamWorks. They are launching dedicated support for Swiss-style CNC machines.
Ooh. Okay, tell us more.
So if you've worked with Swiss, you know that they're incredible at producing small, high-precision parts in large volumes. Basically, it's a machine where the stock slides through the spindle. It's kind of like a lathe that feeds material in through the chuck. They're truly mechanical marvels, but the programming has always been tricky with workarounds abound. But the new CamWorks Swiss module uses the proven CamWorks automatic feature recognition technology. This works on native and imported models to identify machinable features. These are things like holes, pockets, contours. Then CamWorks will apply your proven machining strategies to generate toolpaths automatically. This allows you to capture your shop's best practice or how you do things for more consistent results, and of course when the inevitable changes happens, these toolpaths are connected to the geometry and update automatically.
Yeah, I mean, that's the CamWorks way, so it's good to see that's still going to function that way for Swiss. Of course, I'm sure that not every customer is in the watchmaking industry, but Swiss machining has been used in medical device, aerospace, high-tech electronics. I imagine folks in those industries really excited about this announcement.
Absolutely. I'm excited about it. Damon, speaking of precision, like the Swiss machine gives us, there's a new simulation enhancement that's going to make it easier than ever to understand how our design behaves. You're going to know about that.
I do know a little something about this one. If you're in simulation, you might be aware that getting angular displacement in your results not always the easiest thing. If you look at some finite elements, typically you've got to check the X, Y, Z displacement in your elements and do some trigonometry to figure out what the angular rotation about an axis would be. So SolidWorks looks to have addressed that this year. They've added a new feature where you can pick an axis in your model, and that'll create a plot for you calculating that angular rotation. Of course, that means the result's going to update as soon as you run the simulation. It should be great for optimizing torsional stiffness and other things like that in your design.
Absolutely, giving the users the direct answer they want versus inferring. This is really a good one, and we did a little bit of testing here, and we found that it's not available for mixed mesh, so that's where you have solids and shells commingling, but it is supported in the nonlinear study. So I just love how SolidWorks continues to enhance the software and take away the manual workflows that we've been doing for years and give us that direct answer.
Absolutely. What about the data management world this year?
Yes, SolidWorks PDM is getting a bunch of great enhancements. These are user-driven enhancements that are commonly requested. Improved previews for other CAD file types, the ability to archive an entire workflow in a single command, but the biggest one, in my opinion, is transfer ownership. Behind the scenes, the archives now periodically back up the changed files from the local cache. This means when a file is checked out on one machine, it can be easily transferred to another automatically, even when that user is offline. So this is perfect for situations where someone's out and you need to get that file and you don't want to lose the work that they've put into it, or where there's a hardware failure.
Yeah, that one's huge. I mean, the worst happens, somebody becomes unavailable. The last thing you want to do is call them up at home and beg them to send you some files. So the fact that you can reassign ownership from that backup now, move along with the project, that's got to be huge.
Yes, we've been hearing from CAD admins requesting this for quite some time, and happy to say we've got it. Now, if you're still managing revisions with pack and goes and appending rev numbers to file names, this is how I got through my senior design project, but there's a much better way. So check out our Get Latest session coming up in about an hour to learn more about the entire data management solution, from PDM to PLM to managing your files on the 3D Experience platform. Whether you're a CAD admin or just looking to learn more about data management, you'll see the tools that matter most.
I think we have time for one more. What can you tell us about photo rendering?
Yes, a nice enhancement this year. SolidWorks 2026 is going to make rendering easier than ever. You can now create photorealistic images directly inside the SolidWorks interface. So no need to launch Visualize separately anymore if you don't want to. Visualize has always had its own interface, which is great for non-CAD users like marketing teams who are creating magazine quality rendering and not using the SolidWorks interface to do so. But many designers prefer to stay in that familiar SolidWorks UI, and now they can. So with the Visualize rendering add-in enabled, just use the brand new render command, set your image quality, and start rendering right from there, right inside the CAD window. This is an awesome one.
Sounds awesome. I've got to say, that's quite a list. It's exciting to see that even after 30 years, this community is still focused on the real work that engineers need to do every day and how to improve the tools that they use every day. Exciting to see. Well, our morning session for D2M Accelerate is already starting to wrap up, but don't worry, we still have hours of content ahead. Next, we'll be kicking off the first hour of that block of breakout sessions, which is where, among other things, we'll get under the hood with all of what's new in SolidWorks 2026, where Tim will be joined by applications engineer Nick Keglovich. We'll also be running sessions on new developments in 3D printing, ECAD-MCAD collaboration hosted by EMA, and even generative part design using CATIA.
Now you might want to see more than one session, right? There might be multiple sessions you want. They'll all be recorded, so you can always go back and watch the ones you missed or watch them all.
That's right. At 10 a.m. Pacific will be another hour of breakout sessions featuring that deeper look at Aura AI, as well as what's new in data management with Brandon Adkins and Freddie Corbett. We'll also have a chat with our friends from A3D Manufacturing about transforming rapid prototyping into full-scale production.
Yeah, some serious brain fuel right there. Now don't just watch, jump into the chat, ask your questions, share your experiences. Our presenters love an interactive presentation.
Absolutely. Also this year, that's new for D2M, we're proud to present that virtual experience hub, which is where our partners, including Formlabs and DriveWorks and HP, they'll all be going deeper into the latest developments that they've been working on, including metal jet printing, Swiss machining, lots more. At 11:30 Pacific, that will be our final hour of breakout sessions, where backed by popular demand, Patrick James will be recapping some of the top SolidWorks tricks from the last couple of years. And we'll also have sessions on some complex multi-product workflows for managing your electrical designs in PDM or reverse engineering with SolidWorks. After that, we will assemble back here for the afternoon general program, where we'll announce the winners of our prize drawing, and where we'll feature some more fantastic keynote speakers, including Jesse Hahn and Mark McCauley from the Center for Advanced Design. Our entire Hawk Ridge Systems team has been laboring for weeks to put all of this content together. Tim, I'm ready to roll. I hope you are too.
I'm ready. Let's
all right,
do it.
folks, buckle up. More D2M Accelerate is on the way.